Years ago, everything I thought I knew about God was wrong. And I did some things and I didn't think that I could be forgiven for them. So I told the Lord goodbye. Within a few months, I was attacked and I met this guy that was evil, but I didn't know he was evil. And I ended up wrestling with this evil spirit at nighttime in my bedroom. He's about 10 feet tall and he stunk really bad. And he caused me to spit out this evil spirit out of my mouth. And that night I had a battle with this evil guy, but I didn't know that he had power, and he was speaking to my spirit. And anyways, I ended up finding out that he was evil later on. So in that battle, the Lord was protecting me. Of course, I didn't know it, and the Lord was protecting me through the evil spirit that I wrestled with. And that evil spirit caused me to spit out this evil frog-looking spirit out of my mouth, and it went through the wall. So I wake up in the morning and I'm all freaked out. But the night before, I heard deep in my soul, there will be no truth. And I really didn't pay much attention to it. I woke up in the morning all freaked out. And to make a long story short, for 9 years, I would not go to God. I thought God betrayed me. So anyways, and I ended up leaving that evil guy, wouldn't have nothing to do with him. And so right after I was attacked, I ended up having this dream where I was like taken up into the stars, like the Milky Way, and the stars were close together. And I look over to my left, and here's this black pyramid. It looked like obsidian, huge. And then I hear this voice, and I look over, and I see this wooden cart with wooden wheels. And then I see this man standing there, and he looked like Jesus, had white hair, and it was bothering him what he was saying. He says, "You're going to go to the deepest depths of darkness for weakening the nations." And I was instantly like floating down to the earth like a leaf. And then I heard these people saying, "Oh, so this is the one who weakened the nations and wouldn't let his prisoners go." And so anyways, I don't know if that was true or not. So I was freaked out after that, and I wouldn't go to God, and for 9 years. And finally, I went to the Lord, and I asked him if he would take me back, and he grabbed a hold of me, and I was riding a horse, and I heard a voice say, "You're going to break your leg." And I said, "No, I'm not." Well, I ended up getting bucked off this horse, and I floated to the ground, and I landed on real soft ground, and my ankle broke, and I broke it in 7 places and crushed 2 bones, and then I ended up with a plate in there. And while I was going to the hospital, I was like, "Why, Lord, why would you do that?" And I got my answer 4 years later. So anyways, 4 years later, I'm in this, I ended up getting saved after that, got baptized and joined a church, and I ended up getting married, and I was in this church in Mount Shasta, California, and this gal, she's a prayer warrior. I look over at her, and she doesn't look at me until she walks up to me. She just sits down where she has, and she just comes right up to me and stops like she had a message, but she didn't even know that she had a message for me. And she says, "Did you know that if a shepherd has a stray sheep, the shepherd would go out, find that sheep, break its leg, the sheep on his shoulders, and bring it back into the fold, and care for that sheep until the sheep knew that the shepherd loved him?" And I was like, "Wow, Lord, that's what you did. That's why you did that." So anyways, meanwhile, I've had different dreams. I've had dreams of I'm driving down the road. This one I had twice. Driving down the road, and there was like it was kind of hilly a little bit, but there was hay stubble out in the fields. and it was about 4 inches tall, and it was just freshly cut. And I was watching out in the field, and these people just popped up out of the ground like they were dead, and they come alive, and they had these white robes on, and they went flying up into the air, and they were excited because they were going to go meet the Lord in the air. And I had that one twice. And then I had another one where I was walking in my hallway, and this one was really powerful. And all of a sudden, I just envisioned all these souls just went flying up. It was instant, just billions of them, like every human that ever lived that did not have these white robes. And this huge body formed in the sky, and it was all fiery. I couldn't see his face. And this one went around this big, huge body, stood on his right side, and was looking down. It was like Jesus looking down at all these souls, and they were all outstretched, and they were terrified because they were being judged. And that was a terrible dream. And then I had one where I was like taken, and these two angels were showing me this black pit. And I looked down in this pit, and this woman is laying down, and she's moaning. And she's saying, "Why, God, why hast thou forsaken me?" And then I look over to my left, and here's this guy, and he's shaking violently, and he's just suspended in nothing. And he's just screaming and screaming, just one scream. It lasts forever. And that freaked me out so bad I come flying up out of bed. And then I ended up having another one where I think this is the lake of fire, where all these people, they're close together. They don't know anybody's beside them. They can't see anybody. Nobody will ever see them again. They will never see anybody again. And they're just screaming violently, and I mean violently. And I don't want anybody to go there. So please listen. Jesus doesn't want anybody to go there either. So I know that when Jesus died on the cross, he didn't die from the cross. He died because his heart ruptured because of people rejecting him. That's how he died. So then I ended up having another dream, and I'm not sure what exactly this means, but I was looking at Jesus, and that evil guy was standing on Jesus' left, and I was standing on Jesus' right, and I was looking at the back of my head, and then instantly I was standing beside Jesus, and he spoke the earth into existence. And I seen this huge explosion, and these rocks went flying out, and then inside of this explosion was this fire, and then these rocks were just forming out of nothing, and it looked just like on TV you see clouds forming real fast. It was just like that, only the rocks were forming real fast, and then the moon formed inside of it, and then the moon come out of there, and then the dream vanished. So I don't know what exactly that means, but it is what it is. And so anyways, I've come to know that, the Lord's love for us is just awesome. I can't wait to see him. And I know that his heart breaks for people that reject him, and if you come to him, you'll know love that you've never known before, never known existed. So please come to him and do what he says. Listen for his voice, and search and search and search. If you keep searching, you will find him. He promises that. The Bible is true. It is the Word of God. And the only way to salvation is through Jesus Christ, that gift. He gave us a gift. He paid for our sin on that cross. And if you sin against God, you have a penalty to pay that can never be paid. And he paid that price freely for us because of his love for us. So please come to the Lord. Thank you.